Right. So we're diving deep today into the happiness advantage.
Okay.
Have you ever heard that whole idea? Like,
Yeah.
you got to grind, be successful, and then you can be happy.
Oh, yeah, the classic.
Right. This book
Yeah.
kind of flips that around.
It does.
This says happiness isn't like the
Right.
result. It's like the fuel.
It's the gas in the tank.
Yeah. And the author, so it's Shawn Achor.
Yeah.
He's a researcher from Harvard. And he's like all about this positive psychology stuff. And so
Yeah, he spent his career on it.
Yeah.
So he's definitely got some good stuff to say.
he's not just talking about,
Yeah.
being kind of content.
Right.
He's saying happiness actually
Yes.
affects how we perform.
It really does.
It's wild. So
One of his studies
Like-
actually found that people who are happier at work,
Mhm.
they're like way more productive, up to 31%
Wow.
more productive. Yeah.
Whoa.
And 3 times
Oh my.
more creative, and get this,
Okay.
40% more likely to get a promotion.
That's huge.
I know.
It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense though.
Yeah.
If you're happier, you're going to be more like
Yeah.
into your work, more engaged.
Your brain's working better
Yeah.
when you're happy.
Yeah.
Your brain's firing on all cylinders.
It's not just about feeling good.
Right.
It's about being like sharper.
Absolutely.
What I really liked was that he gave us like a bunch of little things you can do
Yeah, he did.
to actually like be happier.
He calls them the 7 principles
Right.
of the happiness advantage.
Yeah. And so,
It's a whole framework.
yeah. And they're not just like, oh, think happy thoughts. Right. These are like backed by science.
Backed by science, yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
So there are a few that I really wanted to dive into.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So the first one
Yeah.
is called,
The Tetris effect.
oh, I love that one, which is such a good metaphor.
It's such a good metaphor. So
Right.
so you know how like you're playing Tetris for like hours and then like
Yeah.
you start seeing
You just see blocks everywhere.
blocks everywhere.
Right.
That's what he's talking about.
It's because our brains are like focusing on what we're constantly exposed to. So
Yeah.
if you're always looking for like the bad stuff and
Yeah.
like all the problems,
Mm-hmm.
that's what you're going to see more of.
Totally. It's like
Really.
training your brain.
It is.
To be negative.
Training your brain to be like
Yeah.
hyper aware of the negative.
Yeah.
And that can be a real problem.
Yeah.
But the good news is
Yeah.
we can retrain our brains
Okay.
to focus on the positive.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
There
So
you
like really looking for
Yeah.
and savoring those moments of joy and gratitude and kindness
Mhm.
and like really rewiring those neural pathways.
So you're actually changing
You're changing your brain.
your brain.
Literally.
Yeah.
That's
Uh-huh.
awesome.
It is pretty cool.
So
Like,
by changing what you're looking for,
Yeah.
you're changing how you see the world.
That's wild.
Yeah. And it can have a huge impact on your whole life, really.
Okay, so
Yeah.
another principle
Okay.
I thought was so interesting
Recite.
was falling up.
Oh, falling up.
Yeah.
I love that one too.
It's about like how we
Yeah.
look at
Yeah.
failures, setbacks.
It's all about reframing failure
Okay.
as an opportunity to grow.
Okay, yeah. So it's like instead of letting those things like
Yeah.
get you down,
Yeah, totally.
you're actually using them to learn.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people
think
get,
so, too.
get stuck.
Yeah.
It's like,
They get stuck in that like
Yeah.
fear of failure.
yeah, or like one little thing happens.
Right. And then it's like the whole jury's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just quit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Achor, he says, like, when you face a challenge,
Yeah.
ask yourself, what can I learn from this?
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that one little question
Yeah.
can shift your whole perspective.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of being like,
Yeah.
oh, this is terrible,
Mhm.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what can I actually
a lesson here.
get from this?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, and that's how you build resilience.
Yeah.
That's how you become successful in the long run.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I know there are probably some people listening right now
Yeah.
who are like,
Yeah.
oh, this is great, but like,
Yeah.
I'm just not a positive person,
Right.
you know?
Some people just aren't naturally positive.
It's like they're Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Right,
So-
right. But Achor talks about this. It's
Yeah.
all about neuroplasticity.
Oh.
Our brains are like incredibly adaptable.
Okay.
Just like we can train our bodies to be stronger,
Mm-hmm.
we can train our brains to be more optimistic.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So even if you've spent years being negative,
Yeah.
you can still change.
Wow.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That's really cool.
And he gives like all sorts of
Yeah.
techniques,
Yeah.
exercises to help us do this.
Okay.
Like gratitude practices, acts of kindness, mindful meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's not just,
It's not just thinking it.
Yeah.
It's like doing stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
so let's get practical here.
Okay, yeah.
What are some
Bunch
things
of things people can do.
people can actually do?
Yes, yes, yes.
Like today,
Okay, so one of the simplest things is keeping a gratitude journal.
a gratitude journal.
Yeah, you've ever done that?
What is that?
It's so easy. Just take like a few minutes each day and write down 3 things you're grateful for.
Okay, that seems
I know, it seems
almost too simple.
but it's powerful
Okay.
because it shifts your focus away from what's missing in your life.
Yeah.
And it helps you appreciate all the abundance that's already there.
I can do that 3 things a day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Easy peasy.
All right, what else?
All right, so another good one
Okay.
is the Zorro Circle.
Zorro Circle.
Yeah, this is all about focusing on what you can control,
Okay.
especially when you're feeling overwhelmed.
I love this one because
Yeah.
I think everyone feels overwhelmed.
Okay, all the time.
Right.
Yeah. So remember Zorro?
Oh, yeah. From the movie.
From the movies?
Yeah.
So he starts his training by mastering this small circle, and then gradually he expands it as his skills grow.
Okay.
So it's like, instead of trying to do everything at once, you focus on one small area, you get really good at that, and then you expand your circle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you're getting like little wins?
Little wins, build your confidence, and then
Yeah.
you can take on
Okay.
bigger and bigger challenges.
I like that.
It's a good one.
I feel like that would help me not procrastinate as much.
I think so too.
Okay, so what else?
All right, so another really important one
Yeah.
is social investment.
Okay.
So this is about
Yeah.
building strong relationships because they're crucial for happiness and success.
So you're saying like
Yeah.
hanging out with my friends
Yeah.
is good for me.
It's good for you.
All right.
It's not just fun. It's like
Zero guilt.
zero guilt about taking that weekend trip.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Make time for those people who bring you joy.
Okay.
It's an investment in your happiness.
Okay, so this is
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
really cool.
Yeah.
But what about when life gets hard?
Yeah.
You know, like what about
when those curveballs come?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a
really do these things still work?
That's an important question.
Yeah.
And it leads us to a really fascinating discussion
Yeah.
about positive reframing and post-traumatic growth.
Okay.
But I think we should save that for part 2.
Well, you're going to leave us hanging.
Yeah. Got to keep you coming back.
All right. Well, listeners, make sure you come back for part 2 of this deep dive.
Dive even deeper
Into the happiness advantage. And until then, keep those
positive vibes flowing.
positive vibes flowing.
Yeah.
Right. See you then.
See ya.
Okay. So we're back for part 2.
Part 2.
Our deep dive on the happiness advantage.
Yes.
Like,
And we left off with those curveballs, right?
right. Like what about when, things aren't going so well?
Exactly. And that's where this book really shines, I think.
Okay.
Because Achor doesn't just give us tips for when, times are good.
Yeah.
He gives us this whole framework for building resilience.
Okay. And what is resilience?
So it's that ability to bounce back from those tough times,
Okay.
but like even stronger than before.
Okay. So you're not just getting back to normal.
Yeah.
You're actually using it to grow. Okay. So how does that happen?
So he talks about this concept called post-traumatic growth.
Post-traumatic growth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like you go through something.
You go through something hard,
Yeah.
and then you actually are better on the other side.
Wow.
And it's not about like pretending it didn't happen or minimizing the pain. It's about recognizing that even in those like really dark times, there's this opportunity for transformation.
Wow. So it's like those tough times.
They can actually make us better.
Okay. Yeah.
That's interesting.
And he shares all these stories of people who have been through these like really, really tough things like illness, loss, even near-death experiences.
Wow.
And they come out
Yeah.
on the other side
Yeah.
with a deeper appreciation for life. Okay.
Stronger relationships and a new sense of purpose.
Wow.
He calls them meaning makers.
Meaning makers.
Yeah.
I like that.
They're not just, surviving.
Right.
They're actually finding meaning in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like even when
things are completely out of our control,
Yeah.
we can still find a way to make meaning from it.
That's really cool.
And he doesn't just,
Yeah.
tell these inspiring stories. He actually gives us
Yeah.
like steps to become meaning makers.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So one thing he says is to focus on what you can control.
Okay.
Even when everything feels totally crazy.
Okay.
Like, it could be something as simple as,
Yeah.
you know, sticking to your daily routine or making healthy meals or reaching out to a friend.
Okay.
It's about
Yeah.
taking back some of that control.
So it's like finding those things.
Yeah, those little things that you can actually rely on when everything else
Yeah.
feels totally chaotic.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
And it kind of ties back to that Zorro circle idea where, you know, you're focusing on those small wins, even in those unexpected areas.
Right.
And it just helps you build that confidence that you need.
So you were talking earlier about the importance of relationships and like connecting with people.
Yeah.
Does that play a part?
It does.
Oh.
Huge part.
Okay.
Achor's research shows that people with strong social support, they're the ones who bounce back best.
Okay. So like.
So it's not a weakness to lean on your people.
It's good
to have your tribe.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so
what else can we do?
So this one might seem kind of counterintuitive.
Okay.
But practicing gratitude.
Okay.
Even when things are tough.
Even when it feels hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our brains tend to focus on the negative.
Right, right.
Right.
It's easier.
It's like that negativity bias.
Yeah, yeah.
We just zero in on what's going wrong.
Right. Even if there's other good stuff.
Even if there's good stuff happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Gratitude is like this antidote to that.
Okay.
It doesn't erase the pain.
Right.
But it shifts our focus.
Okay.
So we can see the good alongside the bad.
So you're not ignoring the bad.
No, but you're also recognizing the good things.
So it could be like.
It could be like appreciating the sunshine.
Okay.
Or like a good meal.
Yeah.
Or like a stranger being kind to you.
Okay, those little things.
Those little things can actually make a big difference.
Okay, and you're saying to do those.
Yeah, like every day.
Okay.
Even when you're feeling down.
Okay, so I'm seeing now how all this stuff.
It all kind of works together.
Yeah.
Right.
Like building that.
It's about building that foundation.
Happiness advantage.
Yeah, so you can weather any storm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's like building a mental and emotional immune system.
I like that.
The more you practice, the stronger your happiness muscles get.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about happiness, success, and resilience.
Yeah.
But what about those people who are just like...
What about those Oyor out there?
Yeah, like they're just not...
Not naturally positive.
Optimistic. Can they?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of people wonder about. And I think that's why Achor's work is so important.
Okay.
He says, yes, genetics do play a role. Like, we all have a certain baseline.
Yeah.
But we're not just stuck.
Okay, there's hope for me.
There's hope for all of us.
Okay, good.
And this is where neuroplasticity comes in. Our brains are constantly changing and adapting.
Okay.
It's like old muscle.
Yeah.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Well, even if you've been negative for years.
You can still train your brain to be more positive.
Wow, I like that.
Yeah.
That's empowering.
It is.
So how do we do that?
So he has this whole structured approach. He calls it the 21-day mental reset.
21-day mental reset. Okay, so that sounds like...
It's like a boot camp for your brain.
What do you do for those 21 days?
So for 21 days, you consciously practice all those principles.
Okay, the ones we've been talking about.
The ones we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Gratitude, positive reframing, focusing on your strengths.
Okay.
Investing in those social connections.
So you're just like...
You're immersing yourself in these positive practices and really creating strong neural pathways.
Oh, it's kind of like...
It's like learning a language or an instrument.
Yeah.
The more you practice, the better you get at it.
Okay.
So same with happiness.
Yeah.
By consistently doing these things, you're making happiness your default setting.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not magic. It's like...
It's consistent effort.
Okay, but are there any tips for like people who are really, really negative?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And that brings us to one of the most profound principles in the whole book.
Yeah, what's that?
The power of belief.
Oh, okay.
But I think that's a conversation for part 3.
Another cliffhanger.
Yeah. We got to save something.
Okay, well, listeners, make sure to join us.
Yeah, come back.
For the final part of this deep dive.
We're talking
into the happiness advantage.
Power of belief.
Where we're going to talk about belief.
Yeah.
And how to... change our beliefs and all that.
Okay, see you then.
Happiness and success.
Bye. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the happiness advantage, and we're talking about belief.
Yes, the power of belief.
And you were saying this is like a really important
It's fundamental
to the whole book.
Okay, so tell me more about this.
So Achor, he doesn't just tell us to think positive.
Right.
He explains why it matters.
Okay.
Like the science behind it.
Okay.
Our beliefs, they actually shape our reality.
Okay, how does that work?
It's all about how our brains process information.
But
So when we believe something,
yeah,
our brains tend to look for evidence to support that belief.
Okay, so even if it's not true.
Even if it's not totally accurate.
So like if I believe I'm unlucky, I'm going to notice.
You're going to notice all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
More than the good stuff.
Okay, but the opposite.
But the good news is...
Could be true too.
The opposite is also true.
So if I believe I'm lucky.
If you believe you can succeed, if you believe you can overcome those challenges, your brain's going to start looking for proof of that.
Okay, so our beliefs can be like...
They become self-fulfilling prophecies.
Yeah, okay, but what if I have like a bunch of bad beliefs?
Yeah, a lot of us do.
How do I change those?
It's a process.
Okay.
But the first step is awareness.
Okay, so I have to notice them.
You have to notice those negative thought patterns that are running in the background.
Like stories I'm telling myself.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what are those assumptions that are holding you back?
Okay, and
then you got to challenge them.
Okay.
Like, ask yourself, are these beliefs actually based on facts? Or are they just old fears?
Okay.
Insecurity.
So then how do I get rid of the bad ones?
You got to replace them.
Okay.
With new, more positive beliefs.
Okay, but how do I do that?
So you actively look for evidence that contradicts your old beliefs.
Okay, so if I think I'm not creative, I need to like...
You start looking for examples.
Look for times I was creative.
Of your own creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if they're small.
Even if they're small. Yeah. Maybe you came up with a new recipe or you solved a problem at work in a creative way.
Okay.
The more evidence you find to support those new beliefs, the stronger those neural pathways become.
So I'm like rewiring my brain.
You're rewiring your brain.
Yeah, okay.
And Achor says even our beliefs about happiness can impact our experience.
Okay, so how does that work?
So there's this research that shows that people who believe happiness is like a fixed trait, they're actually less likely to do things that make them happy.
Okay, so they think they're just stuck.
Yeah, they think they're stuck.
At a certain level.
At a certain happiness.
Yeah, and so they don't even try.
They don't even try to change it.
Okay.
But the cool thing is, the opposite is also true.
Okay, so if I believe...
If you believe that happiness is something you can cultivate, you're going to be more proactive about finding it.
Okay, so it all comes down to...
It all comes down to belief.
Belief.
Yeah. Wow.
It's pretty powerful.
This whole deep dive has been really...
It's been fun.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like I've learned a lot.
I hope so.
I have a lot to think about.
Yeah, and remember, you don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
Just start with one small change.
Yeah.
One little shift
in
your mindset.
Okay.
And see what happens.
So whether it's like keeping a gratitude journal or reframing a challenge.
Or just believing that you can be happier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is that happiness is not like a destination.
It's not a destination.
It's a journey.
And the more we work
if you invest in it,
the better it'll be.
The more fulfilling it'll be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess that wraps up.
I guess that wraps up.
Our deep dive on the happiness event.
A deep dive.
But before we go, I'd love to hear what you're thinking about.
Okay, so listeners, I want you to ask yourselves.
Yeah.
What's one belief you're ready to let go of?
Okay.
And what new belief are you ready to embrace?
Okay, those are good questions.
Keep those in mind as you continue on your journey to happiness and fulfillment.
I like that.
Yeah. Until next time.
Yeah.
Keep diving deep.
And keep those happiness muscles strong.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.